Payday's here, the money hits my account, I'm rich. I go out with friends, go shopping on Amazon, pay my bills, and I'm poor. This is a common pattern that many of us find ourselves in, and we can't seem to get out of it. That's why in today's video, I'm going to break down the 6 steps to take with your money as soon as you get paid.
The first thing you need to figure out is what is known as your financial baseline. See, the reason that many people struggle with their finances is that they think personal finance is too hard to understand, and as a result, don't ever try to figure it out. By doing this, they are falling prey to one of the biggest financial mistakes, free-floating. Too many people go through life and never take the time to figure out how much money they need, spend, and have. That's why, if you want to get your finances in order on payday, you need to have a plan for your money. And the only place to start your plan is to figure out how much money you need. To do this, I recommend going through all of your financial transactions and figuring out how much your necessities cost every month. Your necessities include housing costs, either rent or mortgage payment, groceries, utilities, and insurance. Add these all up and you have your financial baseline. Ideally, your housing costs should account for roughly 30% of your income, groceries 10%, and utilities and insurance each 5%. This keeps us right within the 50-30-20 rule, which is the general rule of thumb that states you should allocate 50% of your income to needs, 30% to your wants, and 20% to your savings. But more on this later. If you find yourself over this 50% mark, you should look for ways to save on these expenses. Maybe that means finding a cheaper apartment that doesn't have all the fancy amenities, or maybe it is shopping around for cheaper insurance options, or maybe you start shopping at Aldi rather than Whole Foods. Now that we've calculated our financial baseline, we can actually plan out where our money should go. Outside of your necessities, your next step should be putting money away towards building an emergency fund. Imagine the peace of mind you would have if you knew that even if your car broke down, took a trip to the emergency room, or you lost your job, you'd still be completely fine. This freedom is the reason why an emergency fund is essential. This emergency fund should be money that is stored away in a savings account to never be touched outside of an actual emergency. For some, you may already have money in a savings account that you can right now designate as your emergency fund and move it to a special separate account. For others, you should move with some intensity to build this emergency fund rather than putting your money elsewhere, even if that money is going somewhere good like contributing to retirement. The reason we want to do this quickly is that we don't want an unexpected life event to hit us. We don't have the money for it, so we have to draw out personal loans or rack up credit card debt to fix the problem. The amount you save will vary person to person, but the general rule of thumb here would be to save 6 times your financial baseline. This means if your financial baseline is $2,500, you would need to save $15,000 in your emergency fund. Now that we have saved our emergency fund, the next thing we should do with our money is to pay off high interest debt. See, based on a survey from Northwestern Mutual, 66% of Americans carry some sort of personal debt, excluding mortgages. Debt has become a given in the American lifestyle, but many people don't understand the grip it can have on their life. Debt can come from all different places, from not paying off credit card balances, to car loans, to even loans for items like furniture or TVs. Debt is deceiving because you don't feel the immediate hurt of paying the full price out of pocket, you only pay a fraction of it. The catch is that you also have to pay interest. Interest could be the difference that makes a $1,000 couch cost you $1,500 after all your payments are made. Depending on what it is you buy, the interest rates will vary, but in this step, we want to focus on paying off most types of debt other than our mortgage. When it comes to paying this off, there are 2 different ways you can do it. The first method is the debt avalanche method, which is choosing to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate. The reason you'd want to start here is that this is mathematically the debt that is costing you the most money. And although this is the most logical route, the second route, the debt snowball method, starts with paying the debt with the smallest balance first and working up towards the largest balances. Despite not mathematically making the most sense, this is a great tried and true method because it allows you to build momentum and see progress that can keep you going. If you think you might be easily discouraged with the amount of time it takes to pay off your debt, this is a great route to mentally trick yourself into getting it done. The fourth step is to invest. You should prioritize this before you start spending on your wants, because what inevitably happens if you do it the other way around is that you spend your money, and when it comes to the end of the month, you have very little, if any, money left over to invest. By investing first, you guarantee yourself that you're paying yourself first. Investing is something that a lot of people find confusing or difficult, because oftentimes when they hear the word investing, they think of the people screaming and yelling on the trade floor in the movies. In reality, investing has a few core principles that are easily mastered, and once you learn them, you can use them to make millions of dollars over the course of your life. This is all possible thanks to compound interest, which Einstein once said is the 8th wonder of the world. See, with compound interest, the returns you get on your investments help accelerate the future amounts you earn. For example, if you invest $500 a month for 40 years at an 8% return, you'll have $1.6 million. An important thing to know about this is that you're keeping your investments in the market for the duration of the 40 years and not doing the critical mistake of trying to time the market. Even when the market has dipped in the past, like the 2008 recession, it has gone back up and surpassed where it was before the crash. The best thing you can do is to set it and forget it, because most people can't handle the emotional effect of seeing the market dip. Now, when it comes to investing, there are 3 types of accounts that I would look into for the average person: 401k, a Roth IRA, and a traditional brokerage account. The first 2 options are retirement accounts that offer certain tax advantages, with the catch that the earnings can't be pulled out without a penalty. This is to incentivize you to keep your money in it until you reach retirement age. For most people, I'd look into invest into your employer's 401k first, because typically the employer will offer a percentage match, which is just free money to you. Then, outside of that, I'd look into a Roth IRA for any money I plan on putting towards retirement. If you want a more in-depth breakdown that covers the actual rules and use cases of a 401k and a Roth IRA, I'll link a video here that I made on the topic. As far as the amount we should look to contribute towards retirement, the general rule of thumb is to aim for 15% of your income. Now, if you think back to our 50-30-20 rule from earlier, we're targeting to save/invest 20% of our income, which means we still have 5% remaining. To make up this remaining 5%, I'd advise to put it in either a high yield savings account that earns roughly 4%, or invest in a traditional brokerage account. A traditional brokerage account is an investment account that anybody can sign up for with a brokerage like Fidelity or Charles Schwab. Notably, they don't have the same tax advantages as retirement accounts, but they are still capital gains tax advantages, and your money will still grow with the market. In all of my investment accounts, I prefer to invest in low-cost mutual funds that I don't touch and don't plan on touching for many years, with maybe the exception of my traditional brokerage account when I decide to put a down payment on a house. Now that we've covered our needs, paid off our debts, and invested for our future, the next thing I would do is to automate the whole process. The thing with managing our money is that if we don't find ways to facilitate the process, it can be a headache. From managing bills to investing to monitoring our bank account balances, there are a lot of small tasks that in the aggregate can take up a little bit of time. Luckily for us, most modern financial institutions have different automation features within their respective apps that we can use to do the managing for us. The way I've automated my finances looks like this. On Payday, I have my paycheck set up for direct deposit into my checking account. Once it hits my checking account, a portion of the paycheck that is not allocated to spending is automatically redirected into my savings account. Now, from the savings account, where you route your money depends on what step of the process you're in. For some, you should set up payments to pay down any debt, and for others, you should have it redirected to a separate emergency fund account. In my case, I have a specific amount that automatically transfers to my traditional brokerage account so that I can invest, and a portion of it remains in my high yield savings account. This process saves me a lot of time and brain power so that I can make other decisions throughout my day. Now, the final step of this whole process is to enjoy your money, and even give generously. As important as it is to be diligent with your money, there's no point in hoarding the money and always penny pinching every last dollar. At a certain point, when you get your finances under control, you should enjoy the fruits of your labor. Go on that vacation, buy that new laptop, attend that concert. Just do it within moderation, and use the same principles that guided you there in the first place, and your finances will be alright. I also encourage you, if it's in your budget, to donate and give to a meaningful cause to you. This could be through a local church, organization, or even just giving it to somebody in your life who could use some help. One of the best parts of having your finances in order is that you can now help other people where you see fit. I really hope that you found something in this video useful and can apply it the next time you get paid. If you want to hear about other personal finance topics, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you want to know what are some other money mistakes to avoid, you can check out my last video on 11 money myths right over here. Thank you for watching.